All right, guys. So, in case you don't know, we are an affiliate for Soldier Girl Coffee Company. I'm super excited about this because they have amazing coffee. And in future episodes, you will see us drinking Soldier Girl coffee. They also have a CBD coffee. So, if you need some CBD, which helps support your health in a sense of relaxation, it helps with your sleep and your overall health on a day-to-day basis, then Soldier Girl Coffee has both that and the caffeine you need. So be sure to check out the link in the show notes. Go ahead and click that, shop around, and make sure you get yourself some Soldier Girl Coffee today.
Welcome to the Business and Brews podcast, where our mission is to highlight local businesses and shed light on different industries.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Business and Brews show. We've been on hiatus for a little while planning something that I believe is pretty important. So Aaron here has been on the show before with his company, Quality Service Today. And what he did, I think is really great because it's providing an education to homeowners and stuff. But Aaron, I'm going to let you take it away and give us a brief overview of what you guys talked about and what happened.
So to kind of sum it all up and, break it down all at the same time, we talked about the importance of hiring licensed professionals that are licensed for the trade you're hiring them for, and how there's not a universal license. As much as some people want you to believe that, there's not. We had Michael talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of certain insurances and what kind of insurances contractors need to carry, as far as, general liability covers damages, workers' comp covers their workers in your home, and also the importance of having homeowners insurance while people are working in your home. And we went over kind of the reason your landscaper or your handyman or what have you shouldn't be doing certain things outside of the scope of work, kind of like basic tasks, installing faucets and, doing basic things on electrical, is nothing wrong with having a handy person in there to do it. They do actually have handyman insurance. That's more like general maintenance insurance that covers them while they're in your house putting your trim boards down and things like that. But if they get into replacing your sewer line and something happens and it floods your house, in the simplest terms are, that insurance is not going to cover trades that require specific licenses.
Yeah.
So it's something good. A lot of people don't know that. Just like you hear a lot, well, I've got a general contractor, and there's some great general contractors out there, but a general contractor license is not a general fix all in your home license. It's they have a license to sub out contractors like myself and like Daniel with Mebane Electric. So at the end of the day, you still got to have a trade licensed professional. GC licenses don't cover, doing trade licensed work.
Yeah.
So just because a general contractor license doesn't cover heating and air, plumbing, and electrical, it covers them to sub it out over a certain dollar amount.
Yeah.
And I don't know all those specifics, but I know that, any project over 30,000, you have to have a general contractor's license for.
Yeah.
So you could have a handyman be your general contractor if you're doing like a small bathroom or what have you.
Yeah. So let's cover really quick. I know you had Daniel on, who's an electrician. I know you had Michael, who deals with insurance. So, coming from the perspective of an outside person, basically what you're saying is you guys talked about stuff where a homeowner might think, oh, well, my neighbor said he could fix it, so I'm good, or my handyman or whatever. And kind of what you're talking about is risks of liability and things that might not be covered if something goes wrong or, things go downhill.
Yeah. So we went over, importance of asking for, we call it in the trade a COI. It's a certificate of insurance for general liability, for workers' comp, and that nobody ever asked for those. We have very, very, very few people do that. And we went over how to verify licenses. We went over going on state board plumbing. You can research somebody's license and see how many times they've been in trouble. You can make sure that license is active. You can make sure that insurance, insurance runs out every year or so. And gets re-upped. So if they hand you a certificate of insurance, make sure it's up to date. It's going to have a short-term expiration date. It may be a month from when your project starts. So you may want to ask them, hey, in a month, can you bring me your new certificate?
Yeah.
And there's nothing, it literally takes, I know, a great insurance agent can have us ours within a matter of usually a couple hours.
Yeah.
Verifying that the license, because, I hear that all the time. Well, he's licensed and insured. Okay.
Because his truck says so.
Yeah. He's got legal tags and the insurance and a driver's license, and that automobile insurance and a driver's license doesn't cover except driving a vehicle in the insured vehicle.
Well, I see that a lot on the side of trucks, and you could have anything from a plain white van with a magnet on it to a fully wrapped vehicle, and it says licensed and insured, but that's just a wrap. So what you're talking about is asking for a certificate that backs up what that actually says on it.
And I'm really big on the appearance thing. If you're willing to wrap a vehicle, it usually means you've invested a lot of time, effort into your business. And usually there's not anything to be ashamed of. Now, I have seen companies that are wrapped in fancy vehicles and they've got more licensed suspensions and things than you've ever seen. I've seen that before. They've been in trouble quite a bit. And, but usually, it's a whole lot easier to, yank a magnet off your truck when you don't want certain people to see that you're advertising for a trade that you might not be licensed for legitimately.
Or if you want to do plumbing today and electrical tomorrow.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I really want to jump into it because I'm really excited to see all the details you cover, especially because you're focused on homeowners and an audience that are not educated. So you're going to provide that education for us. But before we do, you made a comment earlier about possibly getting other people. So we're talking about maybe somebody that works in a supply house. So that's talking about parts and the things that actually get installed in your home, maybe getting an inspector on. So you're talking about the person that checks behind the people who do the trades.
And yeah, the inspector is a great one because we go to houses that get sold all the time. And, I had a home inspection. Well, unfortunately, the difference between a home inspector and a trade inspector, there's a big, big, big difference. A home inspector is there to say, hey, it looks like something's wrong with this. Have a licensed, insured professional take a look at it. They don't actually, some of them are pretty up to date on codes. There's some real good ones out there, but they're not by law required to know if something's done legally or not. They just are there to tell you if it works or if it don't. If you have a bathroom added into your closet or closet turned into a bathroom, there's a lot of things that can slip through the cracks versus a actual trade inspector. They're inspecting our work when it's done. When we pull permits, they are making sure it's done to the North Carolina regulations.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a huge difference there outside of just making sure it works and making sure it's gonna operate right in the future and done right.
That's awesome. So if I'm a homeowner, just really quick, before we jump into this video, and I mean, a lot of what you talked about just now, Aaron, like I don't even know. So it's like, you know, a brand new homeowner or a homeowner that thinks they've been doing it right. Maybe they have questions, maybe they have concerns or something, especially if they're about to hire a plumber. So if they want to get like the right answer or a little bit of clarification, then what's the best way for them to get in touch with you so that you can provide guidance, or your company can provide guidance as far as the plumbing stuff goes?
As far as being able to get in touch with the company, you can email info@getqualityservicetoday.com.
So if you guys have questions, you know, if you're getting a bathroom remodeled or installing new fixtures, or, you know, especially I know Aaron's really good with well pumps as well. You know, he said he just took on the septic, quote unquote, division, if you will. So be sure to just shoot him an email. You know, it might be a little bit of time before they get to that question, but being educated before you do something stupid that could cost you a lot of money. I mean, you spend a lot of money on your home, so why not take care of it and make sure it's done right? And I know in my limited experience, I hear people all the time, you know, we talk to Closer Look General Contracting, and they were discussing how, you know, some people will have a handyman come out and do it and it's cheaper, but then you have to get that handyman to come out 2, 3, 4, 5 times to repair the same thing. And so one thing I tell people is, you know, Aaron's price might be a little bit different, or Daniel's price might be a little bit different, or something like that. But would you rather see the tradesmen for the same problem over and over again, or see them once? And so it's kind of like going to the dentist. You want to go as few times as possible and get the problem taken care of.
Exactly. You know, you don't want to go to a doctor and have the wrong leg amputated. I mean, you know, and it's, you know, in all reality, you know, I don't like talking the scary things, but yeah, I've seen it firsthand where insurances aren't covering something, or people did a job and got paid to do a job that they didn't either complete or do right. And now they're calling us in because they need it fixed, or it's causing an issue, and the people won't answer the phone.
Yeah.
And then they're out this money and things like that, which, I mean, the state board's there to help you rectify that issue. You know, they will reprimand those folks doing things like that.
Mm.
But, you know, it avoids a lot of issues. Eventually it catches up.
Yeah.
So
even if you guys, you know, are about to do a project, reach out to that email address, get your questions answered. Even if you don't email Quality Service Today or Aaron, make sure you ask someone, because obviously the professionals are the ones that are going to have those answers for you. So we're going to jump into this video. If you guys have questions or want to get in touch with anyone on it, you can send us a message here at Business and Brews, and I'll directly connect you with whoever you need. And hopefully this episode provides quite a bit of education.
My name is Aaron Smeltz with Quality Service Today, Plumbing and Septic out of Mebane. We are here with Daniel Porterfield and Michael Quintas. I'll let y'all introduce yourselves and kind of what you do and a little about yourself.
All right, Daniel Porterfield, owner and operator of Mebane Electrical Services, and we're going to answer those crazy questions. Do you need a handyman or electrician?
Michael, make it happen, Quintas. I am here to answer the insurance questions. I am not representing any particular company or the one that I work for, but I will make sure that my answers are at least clear enough to keep everybody out of trouble today. That's my goal.
You are an insurance professional.
I am an insurance professional licensed in the state of North Carolina to sell basically anything that can be sold. Yes.
Awesome.
And that's ultimately the goal for today, is to educate homeowners why, the whys, the why nots, on hiring good licensed insured contractors, and what that insurance actually does for the homeowner and the contractor. Daniel, what kind of licensing do you hold?
North Carolina electrical license, contractor's license. So yeah.
Is that do they have different stages, like limited, unlimited, or?
They do have different stages: limited, intermediate, and unlimited. So I have a limited classification, which limits me to a single project of $75,000 and 600 volts.
Okay.
And intermediate is $150,000, 600 volts, I believe. And unlimited would be somebody like Duke Energy or Power Company.
It's kind of like a general contractor's license.
That's right.
Okay. Good deal.
Yep. And a whole lot of insurance.
I like that.
That's right.
So much insurance. I have 2 insurance companies.
You about have to.
Yeah.
So with you being a licensed electrician, what can the homeowner ask for, and ways they can verify that? Because if Michael were to say, "Hey, Aaron, call Daniel, he's a good electrician," unfortunately, there's a lot of times that words can only go so far. And you could be an excellent electrician for another company that you don't have your individual insurance for. So is there verifications?
Well, sure. There's easy certificates of insurance that you can do. I mean, most homeowners just ask the question, are you licensed and insured?
I have a driver's license and car insurance right now, ma'am.
That's right. Most homeowners just ask that question, and that's good enough for them. There are some contractors or businesses that we may work under in a commercial setting or commercial accounts, and they want proof of insurance, right? But your average homeowner doesn't want us. Hey, send me your W-9 and COI. But
part of me
do.
Part of me feels like they don't know what that COI is, and that, Michael, when you issue a COI, it's only good for what? A year.
Well,
before the re-up.
Yeah, so that's a great point to bring out. We have a couple of policies that are pertinent to that. So general liability policy, and so that general liability policy, there are many jobs, many contracted operations that you're going to be involved in where they want a certificate of insurance, and they want that filled out specifically. And the person, the contractor, the electrician may already have a policy, but that certificate of insurance would be for a specific location, a job, a person who is employing them. They may also want them to show workers' comp. The Industrial Commission says that anything over 3 employees, and you have to have workers' compensation. So these are things that really should come up with every job.
What and I think on a minor scale too, would you agree with that? Just I'm there to just fix a minor plumbing leak.
So you've heard the saying, if anything can go wrong, it will.
Yeah.
The other thing that you heard is, if you don't do X, Y, or Z, don't come crying to me. Okay. So, you can ride down the road without your seatbelt, eating an ice cream cone. And if you do that enough times, Aaron, eventually you're going to have a problem. You're going to get the ice cream in your lap. You're going to jerk the wheel. You're going to wreck the car. So my advice as a licensed insurance agent is to always err on the side of protection, always to err on the side of coverage. So my experience has been with like a general liability. You'll have a policy that has a 1 million occurrence, 2 million aggregate. You have an event, you got $1 million. You have another event, you have another $1 million, and then the policy's done. So you would have to really have a big problem to have the aggregate filled on that policy, but you should have a policy.
What when you talk about workers' comp, what's the benefits of
having for the contractor to have workers' comp while he's working in your home. Because a lot of people, I think as a lot of homeowners, a lot of people think on the side of, oh, that's for commercial jobs, kind of like you were, Daniel, you were talking about the different licenses.
That's right. Homeowners never ask, do you have workers' comp?
What's the benefit of workers' comp while somebody's working in your home?
So there's a benefit of workers' comp all around. Workers' comp assures that there is a policy in place that is going to make sure that individuals who are employed under a contractor are going to be taken care of in the event that there is an injury, in the event that there is a loss or there is an event that causes a loss. So again, it can be anything to a splinter in the eye, losing a limb, that anything can happen and will happen. And if you're in the insurance industry, you'll see that it does happen.
Does having workers' comp help protect the homeowner in any way?
So that's a question that I really can't answer because of the litigious nature of society. Anyone can sue someone else. Did they get hurt because of the negligence of their employer that brought them there?
So
Did they get hurt because of the condition of the home?
Sure.
So the insurance, I would advise every homeowner not only to have a homeowner's policy, but to have an umbrella policy that covers them even further. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where more protection is better, not less.
Do your due diligence is what I take that answer as is as
I just heard yes.
I kind of did in a hurry
today.
I kind of heard yes too, and but more or less do your due diligence and make sure you're protected and make sure the people coming in your house is protected.
And I'm never at a lack for words.
That was a very good answer though. With that being said, if as a homeowner, you see these, we'll say social media sites and, I have a love-hate relationship with them. They can be excellent for your business, but they can also be excellent for the not legit licensed insured too, because there's no, it's kind of like we have Google verifications.
Yeah.
That, they check our licenses, they check our insurance, they check our financials to make sure that we have not stiffed people. With social media, you don't have that.
Right.
And with that being said, you see recommendations if you have a handyman or a lawn care service as a homeowner come out to your house, Michael, it was probably a better way to ask that question is if Daniel comes into my house and he's putting in a receptacle and he's licensed, he's insured for electrical, would his insurance, if he says, well, hey, while I'm here, I'll throw that faucet in for you, and that faucet were to leak and cause damage, would his
general liability,
GL policy cover that?
So,
not auto policy.
Yeah. So again, an event would happen. A claim would have to be made, and then the adjusters, the bean counters, get involved. And then if there's two opposite sides, then they negotiate about that. Again, once we get past the point of an event happening, it's going to go to the adjusters.
Let me ask more specifically.
Yeah.
Let him ask it.
As a plumber and electrician, is there a specific general liability policy that suits plumbing and a general liability policy that suits electrical?
There is not only a policy, but there is a code that tells exactly what you can do.
So if I put a faucet in and it leaks and creates mold, and homeowners suffer as a result of it, electrical policy probably won't cover.
Hold on, let me ask that. I like the way you asked that, Daniel. Let me ask one. Let me double
see,
up.
If you put a socket in.
Since Daniel is a licensed electrician, Michael, if he came to you for a general liability policy for plumbing, would he be able to obtain that without having a license for plumbing?
So my short answer is going to be I'm probably going to license him under handyman if he doesn't have the license.
Okay. So there is a difference.
We do a handyman GL in my business, and it does have limitations. And there are certain things we won't insure in our business. So I would say Daniel needs to stick to the wires and you need to stick to the pipes.
Man. Well,
I know he's just dying to dig cesspools, but we're going to leave him out of that.
Man,
I've had, well, the good thing is there's a lot of electrical in septic work too.
Mm.
You know, you got your pumps, your alarms. We can go on for days on that.
Yeah. Changing the water heater, reconnecting the electrical. Yeah.
That is why we hold a limited electrical, which only allows us to hook up the appliance.
Yeah, right. I'm going to tell you, I've had a lot of work done on our home. It's a historic home. It's been around 106 years. We had to pull the old kitchen off, put a great room on, do a bunch of stuff. We did a lot of upgrades. The first thing I make sure before anybody opens their toolbox, I want them to have enough insurance to rebuild my house from the ground up if anything happens, including replacing any burnt sod or grass that might be damaged to.
Are you in a historic district?
I am not, but it is a 106-year-old home that is very precious and very important to us. And so when I asked the first contractor, I said, I want to see your policy. And I want to know, and he finished the statement and said that if I blow up your house, I can rebuild everything from the ground up. And I said, yes. The other thing you want to make sure, this is just due diligence. Suppose you have Daniel. You have a contract with Daniel, and he's going to come and rewire the house. He has to strip out some drywall, and so he's going down to the bones in some of the rooms. He's redoing a bunch of stuff. Say you're replacing the old tube,
knob and tube
plumbing or electrical that we love so much in the insurance business.
I have seen knob and tube wiring with water coming out of it.
Absolutely. Was that my house back in the day?
It was not yours.
But what you want to do is it's like I ask these contractors, okay, so-and-so, we're halfway through the job. What's the succession plan if you don't come home from work one day? Who do I call to finish the job? That's another thing. You've got a solo operation, a licensed contracted person, and they've got a couple of helpers that aren't licensed. And you come out, Aaron, and you pull out the piping, and you're in the middle of going under my house and taking care of everything, and you have a stroke, a heart attack, an accident, something happens. Who do I call? Finish the job.
Things happen
every day.
I'm sure, Daniel, you've probably run into that where somebody was working on the job and you got called, hey, this guy didn't call me back, didn't show up, did blah, blah, blah.
What's the succession plan?
I picked up a customer. Matter of fact, they've called me since I've been sitting here.
I'm sorry.
That's great.
I picked up it's a large commercial customer, and the electrician that was servicing their facility had a heart attack and passed away.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
So they were like, okay, we were spinning our wheels trying to find somebody, to fill their shoes. But yeah, that's true. That happens.
So are these the hardest questions you have? Is that about it?
Let's get back to the handyman, Johnny, side job, Johnny.
Andy. So he's going to make me want to go get a handyman policy because I want to see what's on it. Because he said there is limitations, and I'm pretty sure he won't get into those limitations with us. But so here's the way it works, though. At the end of the day, is he's licensed to do what he does. You're licensed to do what you do, and I'm licensed to do what I do. And the state of North Carolina puts restrictions on those licenses. I'm sure you have restrictions too. To perform that kind of work. So I'm sure under a handyman type policy, and I don't, it wouldn't cover some of the things that the licenses require to have the license for. Kind of like so at what point in time, I know we were talking about insurance, and, the COI, certificate of insurance, is what that stands for.
There's a line between a handyman's general liability and what the state says a handyman can do. Right. There's a line there.
And unfortunately, and I've been involved with things like that before. Hey, can you put this in writing? And it's not something I enjoy doing. It took a lot of years to get a license, and it takes a lot of knowledge to have it. And with that said,
for example, in plumbing, anytime you go past the shutoff valves under the faucet or under the toilet, if you cut into the potable water system or you remove a trap, a lot of people find this funny. In the North Carolina State Code book, it says pass the weir of the trap. Well, the weir of the trap is, that little U shape under your kitchen sink. If you really want to dig in, the weir of the trap's in the toilet. Technically, you have to have a license to change a toilet. They'd probably get tired of you pulling permits for things like that. But
the city doesn't. City don't get tired of that.
How much are those permits?
Average about $100 a piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you start pulling permits, change toilets.
I know if I could jump in, I know you guys are top of the line. First of all, you're licensed, insured contractors. I feel like the best of the business in Mebane, Alamance County, all around. I recommend you guys every day when I see it pop up on social media.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't do enough for you. There are handymen around that are making ends meet, doing certain things, and I don't despise that small.
Absolutely not.
I don't despise that. If they're going to replace, a little piece of trim or do something.
Yeah.
But I would say that if I'm more handy than the handyman, and I don't want to do it, then I want a licensed contractor who's insured. And I do a lot. You guys know I build furniture. There's a lot that I do. I've got a pretty good woodshed out there. And after 4 years, I can draw a straight
pretty good
line.
musician.
I still can't cut a straight line.
Sing us a bar.
I might.
Can you
put my hat?
Can you read a tape measure?
Yeah.
Or do you still count the notches?
I can read the backside that doesn't have any numbers on it, Aaron. I'm so good. But no, 4 years ago when I started just as a stress reliever, I couldn't draw a straight line. I can draw one now. I just can't cut one. So I had to go to Lowe's and get one of those trackers this weekend. But, my feeling about it is this. There's a good book that I read said, study to show yourself approved.
There you go.
If you want the license and you want to do the work and you have a passion to do the work, get the license.
Yeah.
And when you get the license, get the insurance. Because I'm going to tell you, you can have a policy, have something go wrong, and it not be covered in some cases, even then. That's why I'm hesitant or reticent to go ahead and make a lot of declarations, because I have seen where you think for sure, lock, stock, and barrel, yeah, that looks like a covered loss. Let's go ahead and get you. And something happened. Somebody went past the weir. Somebody went past the pipe, or they mentioned that a contractor was out. Oh, what was the contractor's name? Well, it was so-and-so. Now you got two insurance companies battling head to head. So it's too liquid.
And I've heard from example, because I'd never say we never make mistakes. In business, we all make mistakes, and the best we can do is make them right. And thank God insurance does come into play.
It does come into play.
And I've heard the term, make sure it was within your scope of work, is the exact term an insurance agent used one time, and it was taken care of, problem solved.
Yep.
And so like in North Carolina, more or less, if you're changing a toilet, you're changing a faucet, things like that, it's excellent for a handyman. At the end of the day, it's going to be a quick, easy, maybe you want to change the toilet and the faucet and have it painted, the bathroom painted. That's excellent. Probably more cost-effective route. Because of the insurances for contractors, insurance is definitely, there is a substantial more amount of money involved in them. But, with that said, basically, as far as requiring a license to go into the potable water system or into the drainage system in plumbing, just like my plumbing license won't allow me to work on the septic tank. So, we are Class 2 certified septic installers. So we have that license to go once the drain line hits the septic system. And then, of course, there's a whole nother realm of insurance involved with that, And
there's a reason for all those certifications when you start getting down into those systems.
You're dealing with, there's a lot of, when it comes to plumbing, unfortunately, there's a lot of EPA involvement. Mm-hmm. A good example of good insurance is you can go to Lowe's and buy a well pump. You get somebody out there and they're not certified. They pull the well pump out I have homeowners tell me all the time, well, my water didn't smell like chlorine when they got done with it. Well, by state law, North Carolina, you have to chlorinate the well when you change the pump because the chemicals in the grass, you drug it across, things like that. You got young kids in the house. You got people that are more susceptible, especially with the pandemic going on. I hate to result back to that because it seems like we're getting over it, but these laws and regulations are put into place for a reason,
right?
To protect people. And that's why it's good to make sure they're licensed, insured, make sure they're going to do it right. Because, with electrical, when are you required to have a license? If I were, you can do anything in your own home by yourself without any license. You can pull permits, whatever. But, at what point in electrical are you required to have a license to be performing that work for other people? I guess is the.
And I would say also, just before I answer that question, if you have a handyman come in your house to do something, I don't care what it is, you should, as a homeowner, you should say, just like you ask us, do you have a handyman? Do you have a general liability policy that's specific to what you're doing? Right. A homeowner should ask that, but I guarantee you nobody does. Nobody asks that question, but
that's a good question. I didn't think about, because if they're there to paint the trim board and God forbid they scratch the floor, hardwood floors.
Yeah. That $1,000 job just turned into a $5,000 job.
I'm going to turn them over to my wife at that point.
Hardwoods cannot be, I shouldn't say can't, but hardwoods almost cannot be repaired without refinishing. And most of the time it's the dining room, the kitchen, and the living room. And so you're doing the whole downstairs.
That's right.
Don't ask me how I know.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is in my house, you're not going to find any 106-year-old 3-inch boards to put in there. So you're having to match that stuff in, which we have had to do. But,
that's easier to match, right?
Yeah, great.
Just if you close your left eye and look up with your...
Beat it with a chain, throw some paint on it and put it in there.
Man, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a hard time carving worm tracks in some of those boards because that's what they have when they're 106-year-old.
Okay,
so what do we got? How are we?
So when do you need a license? That's what his question was. I'm getting back to that. So, state of North Carolina says, and National Electrical Code, but you got to follow the jurisdictions. So we follow the state of North Carolina. And that is if you replace a receptacle outlet like for like. So you got to be careful with that, because what if your old receptacle outlets only have 2-prong? If your house was built prior to 1960, there was a good chance that it only has 2-prong receptacles because there was no grounding at that time. So if you take a 2-prong out and put a 3-prong in, you just violated code and created a very massive fire hazard and a shock hazard too. So
shocking experience.
Shockingly good stuff right here. Right, Mike?
I hope your editing is really good.
I done messed him all up.
All right. So also replacing a like for like light fixture. So, you can't go in and take a light fixture down and put a let's say you have a fluorescent light, just a surface mount, old fluorescent light. You take that down and then you hang a chandelier. That's a code violation because the chandelier is heavier, requires a different box to hang it on. Or take a light fixture down and put a ceiling fan up, code violation. The ceiling fan is the box in the ceiling is not rated for a fan. So I know, maybe a handyman would do that and say, yep, we'll just take that light down, pop a fan up, cost you $100, $150 or whatever. I mean, even the big box home improvement stores may come in and do that. That doesn't make it right. But anything other than like for like, if you got a toggle switch that goes bad and you want to replace it, you can do that. Or a 3-prong receptacle goes bad or loose and you want to replace it, you can do that. I mean, even that I caution you, because there's no telling what you're going to find when you pull the wires out of the wall or out of the box. But yeah, if it's like for like, you can replace a breaker in the panel if it goes bad. You can do that without a license. But anything having to do with changing the original design or changing the wires, you cannot do without electrical license.
So we'll use that as kind of our recap, and I'll let Michael jump in next. We'll get wrapped up because I know Michael's getting a little antsy. what's new.
Hard for me to sit still this long.
I know it, man. I know it.
Playing
So
some music anyway. Or driving. That's right.
So, on the electrical end, can they verify your license online, Daniel?
Yeah, very easily. Yep. North Carolina State Board of Examiners of Electrical Contractors.com, or there's an acronym.
It's NCBEEC.org.
That's it.
I looked it up.
Or just Google. It'll find it.
That's right.
And you just type my company name in, it'll tell you my license number, and if I'm up to par on my credit hours, which I have to have so many credit hours of continuing education every year.
Good to know.
Yeah. Same for you, I assume.
Yeah. I'll run down through mine here in a minute. I'll let Michael go. Recap for homeowners, what important insurances, what to ask for.
Yeah. That's a great point. More protection is better than less. Definitely licensed contractors within their field, within their scope of the work, which I like that phrase. That's definitely an adjuster's phrase because they're going to find out whether you did something in or without the scope of work. When you have a policy, it could very well be that an event happens that is not covered. So what you're going to find is that in our business, in the insurance business, there's always multiple sets of eyes on a policy. If you come in and I write you a general liability policy and I put a code in there and I'm going to send it up to the company, it's going under underwriting. It's going to go through underwriting before final approval. Many of them do even say policy is subject to underwriter's approval. The reason for that is that we want to ensure that we are covering you for what you need, what you've said you need, and that there's no gaps in even my writing the policy. So it's double checked, at least in many cases, triple checked. A lot of times, like when we write a homeowner's policy, we will submit photos of the home. What are we insuring? What does it look like? What do I have to rebuild if it burns to the ground? I'm going today to take photos of homes because we need to have those in the file. My advice as an insurance agent is what we've already said. Licensed, contracted, bonded, insured. More is better than less. And of course, I would say one other factor that I was going to throw in at the end. I am not ever going to be the top producer in insurance in the state of North Carolina. My goal is to make sure that I protect the client with what they need and provide a different element, the customer service element. My phone rings 24/7, 365. And I answer it. So that's why I recommend the two of you gentlemen, is that when we need you, you're there. When we need you, you're there. So I would say that that added element, you can have the best physician in the world, the best surgeon in the world. If you can't reach them, if you can't connect with them and tap into that knowledge, that experience, then it's worthless. I would say that to me, the preparation, the coverage, the insurance, and the customer service. Keep taking care of people, because when you take care of people, ultimately your business is going to be taken care of.
And that leads back to kind of what I was saying. Everybody makes mistakes. Having somebody that's willing to own their mistakes and customer service. We deal with it day in and day out.
Yep.
We make a mistake, we're going to make it right.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what it takes. Sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow, but if we made the mistake, I've changed fence posts before. If that kind of breaks things down, I'm not afraid.
Hire a handyman to do that for
me? I'm definitely not one to say that I don't make mistakes. I'd never claim that. Sometimes that might hinder my business, but I'll tell somebody straight up. I'll make it right. So as far as we went over, insurance verifications, asking for a COI that is dated properly. Because if they hand you a certificate of insurance that's dated last year, that the policy's renewed, that it doesn't count. Workers' comp policy is good to ask for. As far as, we talked to Daniel about North Carolina Board of Electrical Examiners Contractors. You punch in his company name or your personal name, right? And your license number will show up and show that it's active. For plumbing, you have, we say this for any contractor. You don't have to just go search Daniel out, but any contractor for plumbing, heating, mechanical, and fire sprinkler is going to be nclicensing.org. You can punch in my name, my business name. Plumbing covers gas piping, so it'll show up under there too. You can search any contractor's license and see if they've had issues with the board in the past. If you have an unlicensed individual and you have issues where unfortunately things weren't done right and that individual's not answering the phone and willing to take care of their mistakes, the licensing board has a department that you can reach out to that will assist in getting that resolved for you. You can also see people that have been performing licensed work without a license on there.
Wow.
And then for septic is NCOWCICB.info. That's North Carolina On-Site Wastewater Contractor Inspector Certification Board. And then but you can go on those licensing boards. You can see, all licenses expire at the end of the year. So every time you see a contractor license, it's going to say usually December 31st. Is that what yours says, Daniel?
I'm not sure.
It probably does.
I thought it was the anniversary date.
And there again, electrical is probably different. I don't have one of those, so I couldn't tell you.
I think it's the anniversary date.
Okay.
Yeah.
With ours, with septic and plumbing, it's December 31st. At the end of every year, we got to renew them. Usually by January, we have it renewed.
Mine was June.
Happy birthday to your electrical license. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I know we're all busy and everything to meet with us and kind of do some homeowner education here. I'd like to maybe kind of do this some more.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So,
and if the guy's mowing your grass and he offers to put a new toilet in and hang ceiling fans, you better ask for that general liability.
Depends on the price, right?
No.
Because you're either going to pay up front
or you're going to pay later.
I mean,
that's right.
And to break it down real quick, I know we're all trying to get out of here, but what you just said, that people will say, well, that's expensive all the time. Well, for example, I've looked at a job recently that was the whole drainage was redone in the house. The landscaper did it. There was drains not hooked up. There was improper fittings put in. There was things that, it definitely required a permit, definitely required license and insurance. There was drains dumping into their crawl space because he didn't know how to get it connected right. And we had to do some investigation because it was dumping into an unknown manhole. When manholes aren't just for sewer, sometimes they're for stormwater. And when you go to dumping sewer into stormwater, the Environmental Protection Agency gives you a call.
That's not good.
And so that job now, they've not only paid that person to do the job, the person won't answer the phone, and now they're going to have to pay to have the job done right. So ultimately, it ends up costing a lot more when it's not done totally right. So I encourage all people, investigate the license. Ask for a COI. My technicians call me up and say, this person just asked for a certificate of insurance because it's literally one person maybe every 2 or 3 years. And the techs don't know what to do. And it's like, hey, we had the office send them a picture of it or email it over to them. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's not something to be scared of. If they don't want to offer it, I'd start to worry.
That's right.
So plumbing's a little more important than just picking the pink or the blue glue to glue those little pipes together, right?
That's right.
I thought it was as long as your hot was on the left and cold was on the right. I thought that was all you really needed to know.
And sewer goes downhill unless you pump it.
I'm not going to.
We won't get into the 5 rules of plumbing.
No. So that's been great to be with you guys. I hope this does help a lot of people, and that's what we want to do ultimately.
Trying to be a part of making sure Mebane is positively charming.
Hey, that's a good way to end.
Good way to end.
Hey, it's my hometown, so I gotta
That's right.
I gotta throw it out there.
Well, don't make me modify my saying. I usually say preachers and politicians don't know when to stop. Don't make me add plumbers into that. We're done, brother.
That's right. All right.
I appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
It's great. Thanks.
All right.
You got to push and hold that power button on those.
This has been the Business and Brews Show, hosted by yours truly, Ryan Smeltz. Edited and produced by Ryan Smeltz. Join us on the next episode, Be sure to tell your friends and give us a 5-star review. Find other episodes wherever you listen to podcasts.